So what's going to open doors more for you in Europe, European touring, this experience or your wonderful new CD, Solid Ground?
Man, I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You know, the record's definitely been a step up for me in terms of production. The sound of the album is incredible.
Yeah.
Not that the other records I had done in the past were bad, but the label I was with for 6.5 years had very small budgets.
Right.
And I recorded these records in a day and a half, a day to a day and a half, which is not a lot of time to go over things and
Get it right, yeah.
and you know, I think we hit the mark most of the time. I found myself wanting to, you know, not regretting, but wishing I could have gone back and changed this, changed that on some of those records, just because we didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
And when I parted ways with them and did my own record, I promised myself I was gonna give myself time, and I did. We did the album in a week.
Yeah.
And Dave Gross did a great job with it. He is an amazing, talented human being, a great musician. But his heart's in the producing.
Okay.
And I think he's going to be the next Tom Dowd.
Really?
I believe so. I mean, his ears are incredibly mature for his age. He's 29 years old. I think he was 28 when we did the record. But you know, he hears things, and he was able to see what I was envisioning with the record, and he was. I don't think I disagreed with him on too many things. I think I agreed with him on 99% of his suggestions. He did things with percussion that I didn't have in the other records. He filled up the songs with different things, with different ideas, and I think it is a breakthrough record for me in a lot of ways. But I think you can't have one without the other, and I think Roof's push behind it really
Sure.
was a big thing. I think the whole combination, the combination was just a great thing.
That's great. Yeah. Well, it's a wonderful new record.
Thank you.
You know, between the songs where I had to get to the Urban Dictionary to figure out what they were about, like Triflin' and put some stank on it.
Oh, I had to reach. You know, I reached back into the times that I spent in Chicago with some of that stuff. You know, trifling was a word that it was used quite a bit when I was touring with Chicago blues bands. You know, it's like a term for just people who just want to suck the energy out of you.
Yeah.
And that song came out from like a series of events with people who were very trifling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and of course you do a great job on Bad Avenue and Going Down Slow. Did you go in with those two songs in mind to put on this record, or was that something that you and Dave decided? Do you look to bring an old song out like those?
I didn't really ask Dave for too much input on song choices, because for years I'd always let other people let other people make suggestions, and I'd go along with them, and then I'd soon regret them. And when I did this record, I wanted complete control as far as the song choices. So I take responsibility for it all.
Okay. Well, I think
the good or the bad, you know. But I was going to take control of it. You know, making the records in the past was kind of like a negotiation. I had, in order to get my songs put out, the songs I written, put out, I kind of had to concede and go along with a song that maybe the label wanted.
Right.
It wasn't going to happen this time.
Yeah.
So no, I had responsibility take responsibility for the record.
Well, it's a great record. You know, I've mentioned 4 songs already. There's at least 3 or 4 that I think could be Song of the Year. And I got to look
from your mouth to God's ears.
Well, yeah, I hope so.
I want to go to Memphis. I want to have a good excuse.
I got to look
Memphis.
here. Keep You Around Too Long, great song. Search in the Desert for the Blues, another great song. Hard Time, another great song.
Thank you.
I think, you know,
thank you.
I think anybody would have a hard time picking one of those 3. They're all great songs.
I've never been happier with a record ever. Everybody goes through periods where they record an album and they wish they could have done something different.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that way at all about this one. I'm completely at peace with what I did with this record.
Right. Well, it's as you said, it's breakthrough for you, I think. It's a huge step into that next level of recording, songwriting, playing, production. We should mention Dave Gross is going to be playing bass with you tonight in
He
the
is.
show.
He's
coming up from New Jersey. Is that where he lives?
He was on the road with Mikey Jr.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he was up at the Timeout Pub in Rockland, Maine,
Sure.
Paul
Yeah,
Benjamin's
yeah.
Event, and
Right.
they're dropping him off
Cool.
as we speak.
Let me ask you one more question about the new CD, because you said you got Triflin' on here. How do you sequence a CD? How do you decide on a song order?
That I discussed with Dave, and Dave and I just Dave gave me, Dave's asked me what tells me to put an order in.
Yeah.
So I put the order in what I see fit, and then he'll give me his suggestion. And then we just kind of met halfway on certain things.
Right. Is there anything you worry about when you put songs in order? Like, I don't want to put my best song last because they may never hear it, or do you?
I'm trying to. I had a hard time. In this case, I had a hard time figuring out which song was the best song for the to go on first, second.
Yeah.
And I liked them all, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I think you got a New York Yankee first top three here. You got a great leadoff hitter, followed by a Jeter-like number 2 hitter, and then you got the big power hitter number 3.
Triflin was the. You know what? Triflin was the wild card because that was like I pulled that song out of thin air. I was messing with it before the session, but we had no intention of recording it.
Yeah.
And then we had some time to spare, and I said, well, can we try this number, Dave?
It's pretty stripped
And
down.
and it was just me and Bob Amzell on drums.
Yeah.
And that was it. I said, can we try this? I had an idea for this song, and he goes, yeah, let's try it.
Yeah.
So it was just a throwaway.
Yeah.
And Dave loved the song.
Yeah.
And he said, you got to put that one first. It's different from the others, and I think it would be a great first song. So, yeah, he's definitely the Brett Gardner. That Triflin would be Brett Gardner.
Yeah.
The leadoff hitter.
That's right. Yeah. No, not Mickey Rivers. No.
Mickey Rivers.
No.
Oh, yes.
No.
Number 17.
Yeah,
Right.
but you can tell Albert's a New York Yankee fan here, up in Massachusetts. But no, it really is a good CD. That first song just opens the door to the rest of it. It doesn't blow you away, but it just kind of gets you interested with a very infectious kind of groove that I love.
And then the shuffle, with Keep You Around Too Long. I think it was good. I think Dave was responsible for those first two. First two or three coming out the way they did.
Yeah, and I noticed you've got a classic Albert Castilgia song, Celebration, which you've done before.
I did it as an acoustic number a few years back.
That's right.
And
here it's almost got a little country rock flavor.
yeah, I was getting requests for it at clubs.
Yeah.
And we never really rehearsed it as a band piece. And then I think it was in Chicago. I think I remember the first time we did it as a band. It was like 2 or 3 years ago in Kankakee, Illinois. And we just tried it, and it worked out, and it evolved into a really pretty band piece.
Yeah.
I think live it turned into a really cool band piece, and people really love it.
Yeah.
And I wish I had written it.
Right.
Graham Drought wrote it, and he's just got a way of writing songs that people can feel a connection with in their own way. Same with Day the Old Man Died, or he's just an amazing
Just
songwriter.
Like Jesus is a great
Just
song.
Like Jesus, a great song.
And Searching for the Desert for the Blues. How would you feel if one of those songs became a nominee for a Blues Music Award written by Graham?
I would be happy as hell for him.
Because it
Pardon
still
my
would
French.
honor you.
Well, it's funny. He just won the local IBC competition, and he's going to Memphis with his band, with Iko Iko.
Oh, good. I'll get to see him finally.
But if one of his songs got nominated, I would be over the moon for him, because he'd been doing this for over 30 years, and he deserves all the credit in the world. I think he's his greatest songwriter. I probably said this last interview. I might have said it. I mean, he's just one of the finest songwriters out there, and I'll say it again. I think he's as good a songwriter as John Hyatt or Randy Newman, and I think he's right up there with Dylan to me, personally.
Right.
But
all right.
I would be happy for him if he got nominated. I'd love him to go to Memphis.
Good.
With me.
Good. Well, once again, we're sitting here with Albert Castillia on Don Odell's Legends. My name is Art Tipaldi, editor of Blues Music Magazine. And if you want to know more of Albert's history in the music with Junior Wells and Sandra Hall and where Albert's come from, go back into the archives on YouTube or the Don Odell's Legends archives, and you can check out our interview from 2 years ago. Thanks very much for watching. Enjoy the show.